Hi, my name is David Disraeli, and this is my story. One Saturday morning, my wife and I decided to go shopping. She took the kids to the mall to buy jeans and get their hair cut, and I went to Costco. While I was in Costco, there was a long line forming, and I noticed that the overhead lights began to flicker a little bit, and the line slowly moved, and the flickering got worse. And all of a sudden, there was commotion at the cash register, and then the next cash register, and then the other cash register. They had three lines of people and three cash registers open at that hour, and management was desperately trying to figure out what was going on. Then all of a sudden, the lights went out, and people began to panic, and the emergency lights came on. And I didn't need the groceries or whatever I had with me that bad, so I decided to walk outside. And they had security people checking to see if anybody was walking off with their merchandise. And I looked out. It's on a major freeway, and the access road was packed full of cars. There were no police. The lights weren't working. They weren't flashing. It was just dark. And I got in my car, and I decided to just try to make it home. I picked up my cell phone, and there was no service. I tried to make a call. I couldn't get a line, and it kept giving me an error. And I noticed other people were struggling with their cell phones too. And I'm starting to wonder what's going on. And is my wife okay? Is the mall without power? Is it citywide? What's going on? Is it a terrorist attack? I mean, with the last 18 months of chaos and the snowpocalypse, I had no idea what this could be. I mean, we had a terrorist shut down through hacking a whole entire pipeline. If they can do that, what else can they do? So I finally made it home. It took almost 45 minutes to go 2 miles. And I remember there's a guy in the neighborhood with these giant antennas on his house. He's a ham radio operator. So I drove by his house, and there were a lot of people in the front yard talking to him. So I got out, and I asked him if there was any news, because the radio stations were staticky. You could hear some things, but it was very difficult. It was really a bizarre situation. I could not find my wife. I didn't have any reason to think she was in danger, but I obviously wanted to talk to her. And the neighbor said that he was talking to somebody in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they had the same thing going on. There was no news. There was no official announcement. And the best that he could tell is that the entire grid, the power grid, cell phone coverage, internet was down. There was no way you could communicate. And I will tell you, that is the most frightening and terrifying experience that I've ever had. My wife did make it home finally, but we could not use credit cards. We could not check our balance because the banking system can't operate without reliable power. Thankfully, my wife and I had invested in gold and silver, and we had a way that we could barter with people to get food and gas and whatever else. So if you're listening to this, know that this is a true story. It just hasn't happened yet. But if it does happen, are you prepared? Do you have a way to communicate without cell service? Do you have a way to buy goods and services without credit cards or an ATM or cash? Do you have a meeting place if you're separated? I would encourage you to have a backup plan. Thanks for listening.